Hi again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Around the Town with Chuck. My name is Chuck Guglielmo, a weekly interview show where we talk with interesting people around the community. And we're taping the show on Thursday, April the 19th. And my guest today is the Director of Enrollment, Management, and Marketing of St. John's School, Keith Corlew. Keith, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Chuck. It's a pleasure to be here.
That's a long title. Director of Enrollment, Management, and Marketing. How about telling us a little bit about that?
It is a long title, and I'm pretty sure that it still doesn't encompass all the things that I do at the school. In any school, anybody who works for a school, it doesn't matter if you work for Conneaut or St. John or Geneva, you work in a school, you wear a lot of hats. And in a small Catholic school, we all wear a lot of hats. So and I'm no different at St. John. Enrollment management really means that I would control the entire process from Chuck picks up the phone, calls St. John and says, I have a 5-year-old boy, Joseph, we think we might want to send him to St. John, what do we do? I would pick up the call, answer your questions, meet with the family, take them through the entire process of how to apply, how to pay for tuition, are there scholarship possibilities, walk them through the building, perhaps set up a school visit. Anything that has to do with enrolling at the school is enrollment management. That would also include retention. So if a family is looking to maybe leave the school, run into tuition issues, families relocating, etc., where they're moving out of the school, I would do that as well in terms of enrollment management. Marketing is a much bigger hat. Marketing involves everything from advertising in the Star Beacon to radio spots to social media is huge now. We manage a Twitter account, an Instagram account, a Facebook page, a LinkedIn page. We have a school website. We do magazines and trifolds and all of the things that let people in the community know what's happening at St. John and why it's a great place to be would all fall under marketing. If you ask Sister Maureen, our president, my immediate boss, she would include things like fixing the phone system in marketing. I'm not quite sure how that's marketing, but you know, when Sister says, Keith, I need you to take care of someone's voicemail, we do things like that too. So it's really a lot of things, Chuck, but quite honestly, it's anything that really has to do with interesting folks in the school, engaging folks in the school, and how you'd ultimately become a St. John student falls in my office.
Mm-hmm. Well, the timing of having you on couldn't be more impeccable because with all within this week, we had an article on you in our Corpus Christi Parish Bulletin.
Beautiful.
Just received the St. John Herald magazine and saw a full ad in the Star Beacon like you were talking about St. John School this week. So all my interviews today will be coming from this stuff. So perfect timing.
Absolutely. Well, you know, March, April, May are very, very busy times in the enrollment cycle at any Catholic school, any private school. This is really the time of year that families are looking to make plans for next school year. So not coincidentally, you see our ad in the Star Beacon right now. We're doing a month-long campaign with the Star Beacon online and in print to promote pre-kindergarten and kindergarten enrollment, which is knee-deep in that right now. We've got some radio spots going right now with Media One over on 97.1. We have a couple of other things going, a Facebook advertising campaign and things like that. So this is the time of year that I'm probably most busy, and if I'm not busy, something's really wrong.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of enrollment, very good enrollment here, 415 students at the school, significantly up from past years. What do you credit that to? What are some of the reasons you think enrollment is up? Obviously, you're one of them. What are some of the other reasons you think?
Well, I think it's been 6 years since we've been on our Saybrook campus now, and that was really the first big step in taking us into enrollment growth. And I credit Sister Maureen, the board, a lot of folks in the community, alumni, who really helped make that move happen to Saybrook. That was really the igniter for us. And since that's happened, we've seen growth across the board in our school. I've only been there 5 years, so I by no means can take credit for it. It's really a team approach that we have at the school. It's a lot of good families telling a lot of other people about their experience. It's great teachers who give our families the tuition that they pay for every day, and it's a lot of people doing a lot of really good things. And we are the only Catholic school community in the county now. So we really are the only non-public option for boys and girls. Grand River Academy is all boys. They do a great job with grades 8 through 12, but we're pre-K to 12. We take boys and girls, and we're Catholic. And so in a lot of ways, we really are the only other option for a family who's looking at Catholic education. They're looking at smaller classes. They're looking at school uniforms. They're looking at school safety and security. They're looking at curriculum. They're looking at the entire package. So it's a lot of things. I really couldn't say that there's one thing or another that's making the growth happen. I think in a lot of ways it's a perfect storm of a lot of good things happening that a lot of people have their hands in, really.
It's very good to see that blossom the way it's been going. The 415 students, that's counting pre-kindergarten all the way through grade 12. Is there like a breakdown? Do you have any breakdown of how many students, like say pre-kindergarten through 3, and then the middle school age and the high school age?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Not coincidentally, our largest bump in enrollment has been in the elementary school because that was by design. Our real plan is to enroll families in pre-K and kindergarten and make St. John their first school choice, not a transfer situation, which is a whole lot harder and a lot more layers to it. It's a lot harder. It happens. But it's a whole lot harder to expect a student to transfer schools in 10th grade, in 8th grade, where when you're making a move at kindergarten, this is the only school that you know. So by design, we've taken on the task from the bottom up with pre-K and K. So not coincidentally too, we have much bigger numbers in our elementary school. These days we have 2 kindergarten classes, 2 first grades, 2 seconds, 2 thirds, 2 fourths, and 2 fifths in the fall. So every year we've added another class to an elementary grade, which is ideal. That's really the way we want to go about building this. But at the same time, in the last 5 years, our high school enrollment, our 9 to 12 enrollment has doubled. Now, it was 64 6 years ago. So doubling gets us into the 120 range,
Wow.
which is still very small.
But still very good.
But still very good to double that. And what that allows you to do when you have larger numbers in your high school, you can offer more elective classes. You can offer more honors classes. You can offer additional sections of Algebra 2, of English 10. We have a history of Ashtabula County class this year, which is pretty cool stuff that's new. You can do all of those things when you have more students and it's spread across more periods in a school day. It allows us to add extracurricular activities. Our music program has tripled in size in the last 3 years. I credit that to 2 fantastic music teachers, a full-time instrumental music teacher, and a choir teacher who's in the building 3 days a week. We're growing those programs because the kids like what happens in the room. They like the teachers, they like what they're doing in there, so they're doing more of it the older they get. So that's another huge growth area for us is our fine arts program. The drama program. We have 60 students who are putting on Annie this weekend. That's a huge number for a small school to have 60 kids in a drama program, and that's kindergarten all the way up. We have a 4th grade girl and a 5th grade girl who are splitting the Annie role. That's a 9 and a 10-year-old who are going to be Annie all weekend. So that's good stuff.
That is good stuff.
But it really, again, it's a lot more students in the elementary school, and then the plan, of course, is to see those those students matriculate into the junior high and the high school. But right now we're, like I said, about 120 in the high school. The junior high, we have about 25 8th graders, about 25 7th graders. 6th grade is a pretty full class. 5th grade is a very full class. And then we have 2 sections of 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 1st, and kindergarten. And 51 3rd graders is the biggest class in our school. And that's 2 classes of 3rd graders. So a lot of elementary school students, which is good.
How's the boy-girl ratio?
It's actually about pretty dead even, 50-50.
Really?
Which is crazy. Back when St. John was 64 in the high school, there's a lot of girls. I recall my first year at St. John, and I'm finishing my 5th year now. We had 1 boy in the senior class. He was the homecoming king, the prom king, the best male senior athlete. You don't tell a whole lot of people he was,
Right.
the only one in the competition.
Right.
But, we graduated 9 students that year and 1 boy. This year we're graduating 27. We've graduated 29 last year. We have 38 in the 11th grade class. So that's good growth. To go from 9 to 27 is, in a real short amount of time is very good. And families looking at St. John, that's the expectation. They want smaller. Mm-hmm. They're looking for personal. I know every student in the building. Our families love that.
That makes it nice.
It makes it very nice that our families all know one another. The adults in the building know who the children are. We know everybody's names. We know who the parents are. That's a real strong reason for families to choose St. John, for sure.
With the new location out in Saybrook, do you find you drawing more from the, say, Geneva, Madison areas? And how does that affect like Conneaut, Andover? We're a little bit further away now.
Sure. Without a doubt, the largest bump in our enrollment since we moved to Saybrook has been Geneva and Madison, without a doubt. Those are huge growth areas for us because of the proximity now. It's opened up Geauga County for us also.
Oh.
We have some families from Montville. We've had recently children looking at us from Paynesville and Chardon. So, as we have moved closer to Route 90 and 84 and 20, it has really made the decision to explore St. John a whole lot easier for a lot more people in a much bigger area. I was talking before we went on air. You think that Conneaut is so far away when you're sitting in Saybrook Township. You get right on Route 90, and in Conneaut, I was here way early. I sat in the library and checked all my social media accounts and everything. We've actually seen an uptick in Conneaut enrollment since we moved further away also, which is crazy. But again, the easy access from Route 20, 84, and 90 make it pretty easy to do for a lot of families. I got on Route 90 at Route 45, got right off at Route 7, and I was here in a few minutes. And I was here early because I had allowed a half hour, and it didn't take me nearly that long to get here. So we've seen an increase there too. But Saybrook is definitely more centrally located. Andover has not been a big area for us. It's a little outlying in terms of distance, but we get some interest from there, but not nearly as much as we would from Conneaut or Geneva or Jefferson, East Side, Ashtabula, all of the area districts. Pretty well represented.
Something really exciting that's going to happen, Keith, at your school, St. John's School, is you're expanding the pre-kindergarten, and you're giving a couple of options for the parents of those students. Talk to us about that.
Well, Chuck, one of the things that, as a Catholic and non-public school, one of the things that we are really able to do is listen to our families, listen to our parents, and really make changes on a quick turn. And one of the things that we've been hearing from our families in the last few years is that a half-day pre-K program doesn't work. It's very difficult to ask working parents, can you drop off Joey at 7:30 and can you pick him up at 10:50 every day? Or can you drop Susie off at 11:30 and pick her up at 2:30? So we've seen not the numbers that we would like in our pre-K the last few years because of logistics, because of transportation. So we took a long, hard look at that. We put a committee together. We did a lot of research, market research, analytics, et cetera, to see who was doing what where. And at the end of it, as she usually does, Sister Maureen listened to a presentation that a few of us made, and she said, well, let's do it, and let's do it next year. So when you go to Sister with an idea, you better be prepared to do it, because 9 times out of 10, she's going to say, I like it, maybe we want to think about this, but let's do it next year. So that's awesome for the people that work there, because you have an idea, you can make it happen and implement it pretty quickly. It's been very well received by our families. Enrollment is strong. We have limited space in the program, so it will fill up. So families don't want to wait, because once we're at capacity, we can't take additional children, because student-teacher ratios are pretty limited in pre-K programs. You need a teacher for every 14 children, and we'll have 2 teachers in that room, so I can't exceed 28 students maximum. So Once we hit that number, I can't take another student. But again, it's been well received. Very few places anywhere are doing an all-day option for 4-year-olds. And we still will offer the half-day option. We've expanded it to Monday through Friday. And if you're doing the full-day pre-K program, the hours are exactly the same as the rest of St. John's School.
7:50 to 2:30.
7:50 to 2:20, yep. So if you have a 4th grader in the building, your 4-year-old is being dropped off at the same door at the same time for the entire same school day, which is going to make it very, very convenient for our families, already has. We are also going to offer an extended care program, which will offer families the chance to pick up their 4-year-old at 3:30, 4 o'clock, 5:30 if need be. So that will be a real nice convenience for working families too. So it's a convenience thing for a lot of our families, and it's been well received, for sure.
Very good. A lot of good things happening at St. John's School as well. One of the things that I was noticing in here in this magazine, by the way, this magazine comes out how often?
Twice a year. Sister Maureen and Christy Kovacs, our advancement director and president of the school, write most of the content, put together most of the magazine. Mary Lou McClymon's our yearbook advisor, videography class teacher, and myself take a lot of the pictures that appear in there. Some of those are submitted by some of our teachers and parents, but it's a lot of undertaking to put together a magazine a couple times a year that tries to show the entire scope of what's happening in a pre-K to 12 school. So it's not an easy job.
Really great magazine too, and it was a really great year for St. John's School in the athletic department as well, particularly the wrestling program. Brag a little bit about that.
I will brag a lot about
Yes,
that.
do so, because we brought home a state championship. One of these kids, was it Burgard? Nick Burgard?
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Name the last time in Ashtabula County that anybody was a team state runner-up in a sport.
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong. I probably am wrong, but it might be Conneaut softball. It's been a while. We've had Edgewood cross country has done very well at the state level. St. John volleyball has done well at the regional level. The Conneaut young man, the wrestler from Lakeside, won a state championship. But Little St. John, Division III wrestling program, was Division III state runner-up as a team this year. Nick Burgard was state champion at 138. Jacob Legault is a 2-time state champion. He won at 152 last year and at 170 this year. David Cumberledge, our 160, was a state runner-up. And Derek Elrod, our heavyweight, was 6th in the state. So he's also on the podium. So 4 kids at the state tournament, 4 kids on the podium. That's how you finish second as a state runner-up team. Ryan Elrod, Derek's little brother, won a junior high state wrestling championship this year as an 8th grader. So we'll be losing older Elrod to graduation. Little Elrod, who's only 230 pounds, not 285 like his brother, will probably become the varsity heavyweight next year and slide right into that spot. And I know Coach Blank has a lot of hopes for Ryan to be down in Columbus real soon also.
Mm-hmm. So congratulations on the wrestling, but that's not the only sport. You did very well in tennis as well.
Absolutely.
Coach of the year here?
Todd Nassif was
Todd
coach of the
Nassif,
year
yes.
in boys and girls at the
Yes.
county level. So, and one, we're blessed that we have Nassif courts on campus. When you have 6 brand new courts that are lit, you can play at night, you can play on weekends. It makes a huge difference. Our kids get a lot of good court time. They play all summer with the ladder. A lot of county tennis players from all of the local schools are part of the ladder program that Todd Nassif does a great job organizing. But, it's just great coaching, consistency in the program. Todd's been with us a number of years. Really I'll talk about my niece a little bit, Rachel, who's never played tennis before in her life. And this past year in 10th grade, decided she thinks she might want to try tennis. She's been a lifelong member of the Wildfire dance team and has done phenomenal with Wildfire, as all the Wildfire girls have. And she thought she might want to try tennis. So I mentioned this to Todd, and Todd said, sure, I'll take her on. And she'd never stepped foot on a court before, never really held a racket, had no idea what she was doing. Took some lessons, progressed, played some varsity matches as a 10th grader, lettered as a 10th grader. got a Most Improved award and won some varsity matches. And that's an opportunity she doesn't get at another school because she doesn't have that opportunity to try out a varsity sport as a 10th grader. And I credit that to Todd, in his program for, encouraging kids to give it a try and see how it goes and taking them in at all skill levels and working with all of the guys and girls. The boys team is 10-2 right now, the high school varsity team, having a very good season. And again, there's some kids on the varsity team that have not seen varsity action before, but they're winning matches somehow. So again, I think I give Todd and his staff a lot of credit because they really do a nice job.
Absolutely. And speaking of credit, on February 17, 2018, one of the best girls players in the county, if not the region, Madison Parody, scored 1,000 points for the Heralds. That had to be quite an accomplishment. I think the Tinney girl, Kelly Tinney, did it for St. John prior to that.
Absolutely. I'm glad you threw Madison out there because I was going to if you didn't. This year in June, we may be graduating the best girl athlete in the history of St. John's School. You can argue that, you can debate that, everybody does. But when you talk about Madison Parody, you're talking about a 4-year letter winner in volleyball and basketball. She's played soccer in high school. She tried tennis in high school. She's tried softball in high school. Anything Madison tries, she does well. She's just that athletic. Great kid, straight A student. 3rd team All-State in basketball. 1st team All-District. Really this year was forced to step up and lead a young group of girls who really hadn't seen a lot of varsity time this year. And really took on that leadership role this year, and we couldn't be more proud of her. Just really took control of the situation. Yeah, super kid.
I was fortunate to be able to interview her at the ACBF, not this year, but last year.
Yeah. Madison's only fault is her dad's Canadian. I mean, other than that, she's pretty solid all the way around. Has got her college choices narrowed down to a couple. We should be finding out real soon, but yeah, great kid, has had a great career with us, and we're going to miss her definitely next year, for sure.
And the school, of course, the girls' basketball team, I believe they led Ashtabula County in 3-point shots. Something that Nick Irochi, the coach, told me, he never was a believer in the 3-point shot, but he says, I'm going to do it now, last couple years. And here he's leading the league.
I wish I had $1 for every time Nick Irochi came into my office, or RJ Valenic's office, or somebody else's office in the school and said, what do you guys think about this? Do you think we should be doing this? Should I just have the girls just lifting from all over the place all the time? He said, Nick, you got to go with the talent that you have. And right now, his talent is in the shooters that he has in his program. Madison broke 1,000 points and has finished as the 2nd all-time leading scorer in the history of the school behind the Tinney girl. But we have 2 sophomores who just wrapped up, Sid Carpenter and Emily Severa, who were 1st and 3rd, I believe, in the county and made 3s. They're only sophomores. So if you play that out a couple years, we might be doing this again. And both of them are just offense all the time. So you got to let them shoot. If you got the horses, you got to let them run. And that's what we kept trying to tell Nick is, Nick, you don't have a player over 5'7". You have a bunch of shooters. What other offense are you going to run? So he's embraced it. Got to give him credit. He's been a high school coach for a long time, and that's not the offense or the approach that he started with or I think ever saw himself embracing. But he knows where his talent's at right now, and it's with the shooters in the program for sure.
A couple other things, Keith, I want to talk to you about before I let you go. Was the St. John's School now is on YouTube. Are you responsible for that?
Yes and no. I mean, it's a team approach. We have a YouTube channel on our website. We have a St. John Facebook page, a Twitter page, an Instagram page, a LinkedIn account. If you want to know what's going on at St. John and you can't figure it out, something's wrong. Because we're everywhere. We really try to do a nice job of promoting the successes of our students and letting the community know what we're doing and why we're doing it. So we're really all over the place. But sjheralds.org is our website. If you go there, it'll take you everywhere else. It'll get you to my office, to really anybody you need to talk to. But it is. It's all about celebrating the successes of the students at the school, and we try to do that a lot of different ways.
And I know you don't want a lot of the credit, but I'm going to give you a lot of the credit. You had 40 students who could have had the day off on President's Day. You had them attend a science STEM day. How'd you get those 40 kids to do that?
We asked
On a day off from school.
Well, we asked the little kids to do it because they don't know any better yet. The youngest students, quite honestly, when we do our enrichment days and our outreach days, our kindergarten through fourth grade students, I'll say, love to be at school when no one else is. It's so cool to walk the hallways and no one else is there. They don't have to share the bathroom. They don't have to share the lunchroom. They don't have to share anything. They can run the place. Once you get into 6th, 7th grade, it's not so cool to get up early and go to school when you're not supposed to be there. So we use a lot of our younger students for a lot of those programs because they'll do anything you ask them to do in terms of an outreach. Science day, sign me up, I want to go. Oh, you're going to do this Magic of Learning day, I want to go. A fitness day, I'll go. So it's really about your audience, and the younger kids really want to do all the extra things. With that being said, we have 11 summer camps that we're going to be promoting real soon on our website. A lot of those are open to students as young as kindergarten and first grade because, again, the enrichment is valuable. It's all about exposing young people to a lot of different experiences so they can figure out what they like.
Is this the first time doing this?
This is the first time that we've really put them all together in one spot in a brochure, and we've really expanded the camps. We've added a drone camp, we've added a fitness camp, we've had band camp and cheerleading camp and tennis camp and volleyball and football and basketball and cheerleading, and I'm sure I'm forgetting something, tennis camp, but all different kinds of things. And again, it's what our families have been asking for. They want those enrichment opportunities, and for us, it's about exposing younger students to different activities. It's hard to get most kids to pick up a golf club for the first time when they're 15. But if they pick it up when they're 6, you've got a better chance they're going to fall in love with golf. Same thing with tennis. You know, you can't, every kid has a basketball in their hand for some reason. I did, you did, we all did when we were 5.
I don't think I did.
So, you know, kickball, basketball.
I may have had a baseball in my
There
hand,
you go.
not a basketball.
But not a tennis racket. Not a tennis racket. I can't recall the first time how old I was when I picked up a tennis racket. If you put a tennis racket in a 5 or 6-year-old's hand and they like the game and they like the way that feels, there's a much better chance that they might play tennis down the road. And that's kind of our belief with the camps and with a lot of the programming that we do for our little kids is let's expose them to everything. And you know, every kid needs a reason, if that's football, if that's math, if that's the drama club, if that's the band, if that's the 5th period English teacher that they love. Every student needs that reason to get up every day, jump out of bed, and be excited to go to school. We're just trying to find out what that reason is younger. But every kid's got a reason, something that gets them to school every day.
Well, the way you say you listen to the parents, the rest of the staff listens to the parents, I'm sure the school enrollment will continue to blossom.
Thank you.
The next
We hope
time I
so.
see you, when I interview you again, I'm sure the numbers will be higher than they are right now. But in closing, so you are the Director of Enrollment Management Marketing, and Sister Maureen is the president. I take that as she's more or less the superintendent. Is she the one that would call off school if they're, or is that something you would do if the weather was bad or something?
No, and I don't want anybody thinking that I can call off school. Our president, or our principal would make that call.
Okay.
Our principal is in contact with the other superintendents in the area to have those conversations, and then Scott Plesh, our principal, would trigger that text message, that phone call that would go out. As president, really, Sister Maureen oversees all things external. So she works with capital projects, capital campaign, annual funding, the alumni, all things that I do, really the business end of the school, if you will, where our principal really runs the day-to-day. You know, our principal is just like the principal at Jefferson, just like the principal at Edgewood, does the exact same things. In Catholic education, you have a president-principal model. Not the way public education is set up. So Sister really takes on the other end of the school, if you will. So she tries to stay out of that, let the principal do all of that stuff.
Very good, Keith. Thanks for coming on, and we'll look forward to having you again.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yep, Keith Corlew, the Director of Enrollment Management and Marketing at St. John's School, my guest on Around the Town with Chuck.